Hello and welcome back. In the last section, we actually went ahead and created our account in MongoDB cloud instance, and we also managed to connect to that instance remotely through Robo3T. Okay. The next thing we want to do is establish connectivity with our Mongo instance through our Node.js API server. Okay, let's see how we can go ahead and do that. Before I go ahead and do that, let's do a little bit of cleanup here. The first thing I want to do is I'm going to say this is actually a uppercase port. Constants are always in uppercase by convention, so I'll have to go ahead and make that change. And if you recall, we also port is not defined. Okay, I need to change it here as well. Okay. Alright, that should set it right. If you recall, we actually went ahead and installed this .env package here. This essentially allows us to externalize some of our configuration parameters like ports, connection strings, and so on and so forth. Okay, so for that to work, I'm going to go ahead and create a new file here called .env. Okay, .env. Okay. And in here, let's go ahead and create a new variable, and that's going to be called port. And I'm going to essentially put this port in here, port number in here. Okay. All right. And after this, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to require in the .env configuration here. Okay. So I'll say require .env, okay, and config, and call the config method on that. Okay, all right, super. And let's see if it actually does something to our project. We are good here. And what this is going to do is this is going to read all our config parameters here from the .env file and allows the application to access them through the process.env attribute. Okay, so what I mean by that is now I can access the port number, which is defined here, by using process.env.port. Okay, all right. So with this in place right now, the port is accessible right now. Our server also got started. Let's go ahead and restart this, and just to make sure that this particular thing didn't break anything. So hopefully we should be able to restart that. Saying restarting due to changes. I think we did use nodemon here, if I'm correct. Actually, there's one thing that we need to be aware of. Every time a new variable is introduced, it should automatically pick it up. But let's see, I'm going to restart it and see if it actually has any impact in terms of the final result. Let me go ahead and say npm run dev. Okay, should be up and running anytime. Super. So I'm going to go ahead and test it again through my REST client, send the request. Hopefully we should get a response back, and we are. Okay. And we can do a similar thing with our database as well, connectivity as well. In order to connect to the database on the cloud, we need a Mongoose package, which is essentially a Mongo driver, a Mongo Node.js driver, which can essentially help us connect our application to the MongoDB instance on the cloud. Okay, let me go ahead and install that particular package. Okay, let's head over to npm here, and I'll just go ahead and say npm mongoose and click on the first link. And here it says it is a object modeling tool, designer work in asynchronous environments. So essentially it allows us to work with promises and callbacks, and we can use the async await syntax here. Okay, so let's go ahead and install that. And we know that, this is how we're going to install this, right? I'm going to head over here. I've already opened a new terminal, split the terminal here. I'm going to say npm install mongoose. I'll let it complete. Alright, it's gone ahead and completed right now, which is nice. So the next step is to actually integrate that with our project, okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'll say const mongoose is equal to acquire mongoose, okay? And once we have that, we can then connect to the Mongo instance on the cloud at the time of startup, okay? Whenever we try to listen, whenever this particular service starts, it's going to listen on a particular port, and at that time, it'll also try to connect to the MongoDB. Okay, let's see how I can do that. I'll head over to my .yaml file, create a new entry here for the key database, and remember, we got a string here a while ago. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste that here. Let me collapse this. Okay. And I want to make sure this is actually replaced with my actual password. Alright. And let me call my database as IndieCafe. IndieCafe _DB. Alright. That sounds better. Super. And I think we should be in business here. So what we're going to do is we're going to head over to index.js, and we can try to extract the database here and say const database is equal to process.env.database. Looks like there's a typo in here. Go ahead and change that here as well. Okay, super. And let me save that. And how do we go ahead and essentially communicate to the database now? Okay, so Mongoose actually provides us a connect method. Okay, after this I'm going to say mongoose dot connect. Okay, and the connect is going to take a connect string, which is going to be our database. Okay, and this is going to essentially have a few options that we need to present, okay? And one of them is use new URL parser, and then we're going to set that to true, okay? And what else? We also need use unified topology. Use unified. Oops, that's not coming up. Interesting. And I think we have another option here. Use create index. Alright, so let's go ahead and save this now. I'm going to go ahead and save this. Hopefully no surprises in here. And I also want to make sure I call this with an await syntax. Okay, so let's say await, and let's say save. This is probably going to fail because we need to make this a method async here. Okay, so let's see if it actually goes ahead and does something in here. Hello world. Didn't say connected, right? Let's go ahead and put this in a try catch block, just so that here we can do some logs when it actually successfully connects, as well as not able to connect. Okay, let me close this. Let me console log errors. So because I have that extension, I can just say Control-Alt-L, and it prints error here. Okay. Say alright, and I think we also need to make this method async because we're calling the await method here. Super, let's see what happens. I'll also give a console log here. Okay, yep, it's connected to Mongo. That's what it's saying. Super, guys. So congratulations, you've connected to Mongo from your API server. So now we should be able to essentially update data on Mongo, create stuff on Mongo, read off of Mongo collections and stuff like that. Okay, so this is great. We're going to take a brief pause here and come back and see what next actions we can do, or what next features we can build on our API, okay, and with respect to the browse catalog. All right, so the next few sections will all be API centric. We're going to essentially create Mongo models and that'll allow us to essentially communicate with the Mongo collections in terms of updating, creating, and rating of the collections. We'll take a brief pause, come back soon.